Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining you live from Talladega for the Racers Elite Xfinity Series here at Talladega. This is the playoffs. My name's Jonathan Leach, filling in for Dave Regal. Alan is with me this evening. Unfortunately, there is a bit of an emergency. Dave was unable to make the event, and we did not find out until it was until the start of this event. So sorry that this happened. We'll make it up to the Racing League. But we're here now to call the rest of the race. As you see, we've missed 17 laps. We're under caution right now. The field is led by both Tefts, and you've got Smith and Corey Crowell in the top four. And Diego Rodriguez, a name that we're very familiar with in the Cup Series side. He is currently in the fifth place position at this time. Alan, thanks for being able to make this last second here in order to make this race go. This is Talladega, and looking forward to it being a good time.
Yeah, for sure. So, these guys are gonna be getting settled in here as we see the last 17 laps. We got one caution. I suspect it's gonna be. I hope it's clean and green the rest of the way, but these guys are going to find a dancing partner and get after it tonight.
Well, it's really the only way you can make this track work for you is to get kind of a group of guys together, and you got to work with your team, especially if there's going to be the opportunity for green flag pit stops. But we'll keep an eye out on it as this race goes on. Here in a couple moments, these guys will be back to green. Notice how many cars are on that inside line to the back as opposed to the rest of the field.
Yeah, John, it's going to be all about getting the right pushes from the right people. So you're definitely going to want to be patient, and patience is the key tonight.
Yeah, I talked to drivers last week on the Next Gen Series. I'll be calling that tomorrow with Daniel Paulus, and there were some mixed ideas for how they wanted to work these races. The thought was some drivers were going to try to lead it, stay up front the entire race. Other drivers, their intention was to be more towards the rear and then to show up at the end of the race, to try to make things happen. I'm on the mindset that you need to be up front if you want to win it. If you're up front, the top four, you're probably in better shape than the rest of the field.
Yeah, I'm in the mindset of riding in the back and avoiding all the wrecks if you can.
So here we are, back under. Go for it. Back under green into turn number one.
Yeah, we got Andrew Tufts there. He's getting out to the lead, but you don't want to get out to a huge lead because if not, these guys will swallow you up like a pack of dogs.
So we got. I was going to say, you don't want to step out too far in front like you were just saying, and we already see the gap closed. And you're three wide. Corey Crowell's in the middle. Coming to turn four.
Yeah, so you really don't want to be in the middle either, John. You kind of want to be either in a high or low line, and you're going to hear phrases like, hung out to dry. As right now, they're trying to force the issue to go three wide. I think it's still just a little too early in the race for that, as we're working lap number 19 right now, coming down the back straightaway. So, these guys are gonna be patient, but you got to know when to go also. And right now we're running 75 laps, so therefore you don't want to be too patient, but yet you don't want to be too conservative either.
Now, I really feel at a track like this, you need to stay up front, and this is, I've seen people stay in the back, and you normally just seem to get caught up when you're trying to make it to the front. As you can see, Corey Crowell in that 20 Toyota drop down to the inside lane. That's for the Midwest Motorsports guys. And Alex Tefft, at the start of this, who was up front, now all the way back to fifth. So these positions up front here can change in a hurry, especially at a track like Talladega. And really, you've got 20 drivers all within 1 second of each other. A lot can happen. We go a little bit more towards the back. You kind of got a second group of guys right here, led by Kinsley Smith. I spoke with him on the last week on Thursday. He mentioned that he'd like to hang around in the back, and he'll be there for the end of this one. A couple other drivers that said similar things were Jeremy Carter, Brandon Honeycutt as well. So look for these guys, 22nd on back with Kinsley Smith to kind of end up being their own little group here in the next few laps. I don't expect to see another caution anytime soon with the caliber of racing that these guys put forth for us, but you have to understand that very well could occur, at a moment's notice.
Yeah, John, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but there's two groups starting to form. You got the lead pack, and then you got the guys that are in the back. It's maybe not such a lead pack. So these guys are really starting to get spread out. But these cars draft really well together. And you really don't want to bump draft into the corner either, though.
So I'm not familiar with how the Xfinity cars bump draft. I don't drive them. I don't have any experience in them. But if they're anything like the ARCA Series car, actual touching with these machines get them real squirrely on the rear end, and it just makes it rather difficult. You take a look here as the textures are loading in now for these paints. You can see some of these cars with a little bit different colorage on them. Those are your playoff drivers, as well as you look at the left side of the screen for the tower, and you have a sea of green showing everybody that is a playoff contender. The top 5 is all green. So, that kind of shows you that the guys trying to win and pick up the most points here are trying to stay up front. And if you're further back in the points, if you have a good day at Talladega and your competition has a bad day, you can really make up a lot of ground, and we're seeing that here right now.
Yeah, you see Ronnie Norman there on the outside. He was running that extreme outside line. That's what I like to call the Dale Jr. line, John, as these guys are, making it happen. The inside line right now is getting that. It's kind of like a tug of war at 180 miles an hour. Which line could be better than the other?
Yeah, the rest of the field now led by Kyle Cooper, driver number 73. That's a Ford Mustang. Help from Andrew Teft in the number 98 as right there. And then you've really got a couple other drivers. Gordon Spain on that second line right there in the 33. Corey Krause third in line. And Todd Slauson second in line on the outside. If you kind of look back here, he got a little bit of a second line trying to, third line with Puffenbarger and that 72 of Daniel Honeycutt. I really think these guys are just trying to make a third line work and see if it'll be viable later in the race. This is the time that you want to try something to see if it's gonna work for you, and you never really know. But this is the ideal time to give that a shot and see. And that's usually how I would, or I always did this whenever I was a racer. This is some long time ago for my iRacing career. But I would kind of play the cat and dog game a bit, or what is it, cat and mouse game, where we try to see how long it takes to get to the front. And yeah, I can see that high side, they picked up a little bit of help there. And Puffenbarger now battling for the lead. 3 wide racing all over the field. Look at that. Couple drivers I think are going to bail out of it. Right here, Kyle Cooper being one of them, that 73. And I think Andrew Teft was also one. Those guys are going to bail out of the lead up there. Just a little too squirrely for them.
Yeah, John. So imagine driving down the interstate and you're behind these guys doing 180 miles an hour. That's what these guys are like. They're steady on the wheel. Steady on the wheel. Brandon Puffenbarger right there in first. Daniel Honeycutt, he's been on a tear lately, and we're seeing guys that normally that you wouldn't see up front, as that bottom, that inside line got the better push this time, and Daniel Honeycutt's going to try to make a move there. He's looking on the inside and outside of Brandon Puffenbarger.
I find it just kind of peculiar to see right here now. Those 2 other lanes have just died, and now it's Puffenbarger's up front, Honeycutt, Slauson, Aaron Marquis, and now that second line, Ronnie Norman's trying to get it together back up, but it's just insane how quickly it died when a couple of those drivers bailed and moved on back.
As we see that.
Go ahead.
So you see that second line, John. And the other thing I want to point out too is that line may have died out now, but as you see it right now, coming out of turn two, it's starting to gain strength because these guys are starting to work together. It's all about cooperation. So I'm going to be your best friend until about 10 to go, and then I'm going to be your worst enemy.
Yeah, you know what? I sort of, unfortunately, we had to come into this late because of an emergency. We just weren't notified in time to make it. You know, and so I'm not quite sure what the strategy for fuel is that these guys have. I assume they can go about 30 laps, maybe on a full tank of fuel, 30 laps or so. I mean, that's a long way. That's what, 90 miles? Am I saying that right? Is that accurate? 2.5 miles, 30, something along the lines. I do this. I don't do math for a living. But I would assume that maybe everybody pitted on an earlier caution. And when we came into this, we were under caution, but I'm only showing a handful of drivers pitted for that. And a majority of the field stayed on track, so perhaps that group of cars pitted prior to that occurring.
Yeah, so we got a middle line there building, John. It's Ronnie Norman, Brendan Puffenbarger, and Joshua Neal are making a 3 wide, and they're 3 wide, about 4 rows deep here. But John, I gotta know, what will it take to get you out of retirement?
You know, to get me to come out of racing, I would need, well, first of all, there can't be things like tonight happen. Our races have to be covered. And it would have to be with a league that I have a lot of respect for. And currently, that league is this one right here, the Racers Elite Series. And it would have to be probably their Wednesday or Thursday night event. That's what it would take to get me racing. But my primary focus is making sure those shows are aired each and every evening that they're on, with the outstanding performance that they put on. You saw right there that blue machine. I think that's no, I'm not quite sure. I think that's Jeremy Carter. He just kind of dropped back a little bit. No, I take that back. That was the 41. No, 14 as Lee Campbell, dropping back a little bit, getting out of that rat's nest. But it would take, at this point, it seems like it would take a lot, but it would certainly be a fun time to race with this group.
Yeah, these guys are well respected in the iRacing sense. As we're looking at this beautiful sight as they come off of turn number 2 here. And, you know, I've run numerous leagues that we cover here on SRM, and, you know, sometimes in my free time. So, you know, this is one of them that I fortunately don't get to run, you know, Saturday nights with, you know, if I have a free night. But most of the time, you know, we like to bring quality programming, as we got Brandon Poffenberger in the lead right there, and Ronnie Norman battling on his outside as that second line starting to die out again there, John.
You know what? I think this might be drivers possibly preparing for pit stops. I could be wrong, but you know, they seem to be awfully spread out. And now this is a great big gaggle of machines right up here up front, but you know, they're not quite as tight as I feel like they could be. Let's go on back here and highlight this back group a little bit. You got again Kinsley Smith, Dwayne McMahon, Ian Campbell, Brandon Sanfilippo, and Brandon Honeycutt. You know, some big names across all 3 races that this group of guys does here for the Racers Elite Series, and they're just hanging out in the back. You know, they're in the area, they're seeing this 3 wide mess in front of them, and they just don't want anything of it. And they really feel that being this far back in the field, they have the opportunity to miss anything that may occur. And they still have more than half a race to go. And I wonder about what time are we going to see these drivers towards the back start coming. And I notice how Smith right now, you know, this is a playoff driver. I believe Campbell's a playoff driver based on that green spoiler. And just a little bit more in front of them, you've got that number 88 machine. That's Todd Slauson. That's another playoff driver. So a handful of these guys just hanging out in the back, just trying to avoid what could occur at Talladega. But, you know, I just kind of feel like you have to have a little bit of luck on your side at Talladega. And if you're not aggressive, you can't win the race.
Yeah, think of Talladega as a giant slot machine. You don't really need to have skill. Well, you do, but you need to have a little bit of luck also. And you need the skill comes in avoiding, the big one. It's not a matter of if it's gonna happen. It's a matter of when.
Yeah, at some point things do just kind of happen here with this event. It's unfortunate, but at some point everybody's racing for the same real estate, and you can't always have the same spot at the same time. Two people see an option that's going to move them up in position. They both go for it. They come together, and it's going to take out several cars, not just one car, but several cars. And that's kind of a problem, and it just kind of takes a lot of luck, in my opinion, to get through Talladega. But that's what makes it fun. What makes it not fun is when you make it to the last lap, have a shot to win, and you don't finish the race. That's what makes this race not fun. But when you're in it, man, it's just a blast. And then there's just too much fun that you're having. When you're getting real close, you get kind of anxious, don't want to make a bad move. And I just think that style racing is a lot of fun. And you see these guys are weaving in and out, back and forth. These guys are nervous racing next to each other. Most definitely they are. Being that close, within a car length of each other. I'm seeing speeds around 190 miles an hour. That's a really nice looking 24 paint scheme. Same with that number 82 of Joshua Neal. That's a driver that's going to be racing tomorrow. And, some of these guys are going to have 2 nights of experience when they get to this track tomorrow for the Cup Series, which I'm looking forward to. So it's actually going to be kind of cool to call the Cup Series tomorrow after getting an idea for what's going to happen tonight with the Xfinity Series. So I'm quite looking forward to that one with Daniel. Joshua Neal is going to be a driver I'm going to kind of watch for and see. I know he's overdue for a really good race, and a track like Talladega could be that place where you just do something a little bit extra and it works out for you. Another guy that would like to see a win, Diego Rodriguez. He always has people that are watching him on the channel, and he's got fans, and his fans follow him, so we know that they want to see a win. Dennis Kane's another one of those drivers. I'm not sure how he's doing in this series. I know in the Cup side of things, he runs well, but he gets caught up in something almost every race and just doesn't have a finish that's really that really represents how he ran in the race. So take a look at this. You got one really long inside line now, and it's probably 20 cars deep.
Yeah, you touched on Dennis Kane there, John. Dennis Kane also in the series. He's like you said, he's the driver that if he could put together a good run, he would be a force to be reckoned with. I think he would be up front all the time. But, it's one of those times, he's one of those drivers where either trouble seems to find him or he finds trouble. Maybe even both, who knows?
Well, and some people just have an aggressive driving style. I'm not sure if that's him by nature, but, sometimes when you're more aggressive, you win more, but you find yourself in trouble. You try to make that squeeze play, and it doesn't work out for you as often as not. But I just want to take a mention. We've been here for the last about 20 laps now, and these guys are racing hard. We've seen 3 wide. We've seen a little bit of 4 wide racing. It was a split moment. And a lot of 2 wide racing. These guys are putting on a phenomenal show, and we're not seeing anything too excessive, although there was almost a moment right there. I don't know if you saw that with that Bass Pro tractor, that 33 machine Gordon Spain. Got a little bit loose on the that middle groove right there, and I thought that might have been an incident, but he's going to hang on to it. And you see he's really trying to slide down, I think, in front of that 82 of Joshua Neal. I'm just not sure if Neal is going to let him in or not. If I were Neal, I don't think I would. And see, look, he's trying right there. He's looking for a room. He's doing the whole side draft thing right here, and if you're willing to get close enough, the side draft will work. And you see it right here. He is hanging tight, but he is right on those cars, and just one little hiccup by both of them, or by one of them, and that's the field right there. And he's going to get some draft help from the 14 Lee Campbell coming up, as well as the 41 of Aaron Marquise. And they're going to look to the outside. They're going to leave him hanging right there in the middle.
Yeah, John, these guys, like I said, you're going to see it multiple times as you're looking at Gordon Spain. He's the sandwich. He's the meat in the sandwich right now, as he's looking for a hole to maybe get into the outside line or the inside line. But right now, no one's letting him in. The inside line is surely making it difficult, as the middle is trying to maybe organize a little bit of something to help him out. But the other thing too, John, is these guys got to be careful because the Toyota's
Oh, look at that, 33.
almost had a moment.
Yeah, he came all the way up and kind of clipped the 14 of Campbell right there. That's what we were just talking about. And somehow these guys held on to it. Like a big wiggle at 190 miles an hour. They're going to all hang on to it. And it just kind of seems like that sucks a little bit of the energy out of this group right here as they're trying to regroup on this lap. As you're three wide racing now. Lee Campbell, Aaron Marquis on the top. Gordon Spain's in the middle there, kind of followed by, I think that's Dennis Kane right there behind him. That is Dennis Kane, and now those guys on the top side, Marquis and Campbell, are starting to fall back.
Yeah, right now we're looking at Dennis Kane. And the other thing too, John, is, like you said moments ago, the inside line is like 20 cars deep, and the outside line, that poor outside line right now is on life support. As earlier, Gordon Spain had a check your pants moment, but that's the thing. That was an incredible save right there from Gordon Spain. He's one of those guys that's been, starting to run up front here in the past few weeks, and he's getting hard to beat there sometimes.
So we're now we're at 40 laps now. The racing is just continuously occurring to the front. And I want to go back to this further group back here that we talked about earlier, and they're starting to give up a little bit of ground. The question is how much ground do you want to give up, and do you trust the group with you to regroup and get together when you guys have to make it to go to the front? And when you're only 4 cars versus 20 cars, can you actually get there? And so you don't want to lose that toe in front of you by Jarrett Larder, Daniel Honeycutt. They're about a second in front of these guys. If they get further back than that, that's dangerous, and you might start losing ground to the front pack the second you're kind of out of that little bit of a draft window, which I believe kind of goes away at about the 1.5 second mark. So if they get that far back, they're in trouble. And what I'm not sure if they're checking, and they need to be really measuring from Daniel Honeycutt and not Jarrett Larder, because Larder's kind of hanging away from that group. So they need to stay within about a second of Daniel Honeycutt, which they're doing right now. But they really don't want to lose any more time. And Smith is kind of on his own without any cars right up on him for draft partners as we're coming to lap, or as we're now on lap 42.
Yeah, so lap 42. Right now, you got this lead pack, and these guys are like a snake coming down the back straightaway. As these guys are, the other thing too, John, I want to touch on also, is when you think these guys are going to stay out, they pit, and then when you think they're going to pit, they stay out. So I would suspect that they're going to come in and try to make it a one-stop race, maybe in the lap 45, 46 range.
Oh, there he comes, right down pit road. Guys in the back. Joshua Neal down, Rodriguez, Austin Smith, big names, Dwayne McMahon. Yeah, and there's a guy in the grass. Who's that? Jeremy Carter? That was Jeremy Carter. You got to have good green flag pit stops. That's going to get him away from these guys. So let's look at these other guys. How many are going to get set up on the bottom here to come down pit road this time? I imagine that all these cars on the low side are getting ready to come down pit road. Austin Smith, Joshua Neal still in their pit box. Neal coming out now as a long stop, 15 seconds. Here we are coming into turn number 3. Who's coming? Who's going? Or who's staying? Here go the leaders.
Front 3 drives. Front 3 guys come in. They're bringing a whole group. You want to come in with a group of guys, John. You don't want to come in by yourself. So if you come in by yourself, you're a sitting duck. So these guys spent the last 42 laps making deals. When are you coming in? I don't know. I'm coming in at lap 45. I'm coming in at lap 42, right?
All right,
so these guys are making deals.
They sure are. You know, guys like Lee Campbell, Jarrett Larder, Aaron Marquis, Gordon Spain, Puffenbarger. You know, these guys are talking to each other because they were all up front running with each other. So more big names that time around. I can't imagine that these guys are going to stay out much longer. Now, this is Talladega. This isn't, you know, a mile-and-a-half track where you give up a ton of time being on the track versus off the track. But I've kind of noticed that I would personally rather be the first group on pit road, not the last group. I want to be up to speed trying to catch these guys, not trying to hold them off, as Alex Teft, Andrew Teft, Hoke, Kane, Slauson, Ronnie Norman, and Kyle Cooper comes down. Look how tight these guys are. These guys are really good at getting on pit road. These guys are so, gosh, just phenomenally close together. Just excellent racing. And now we got this group right here. 7 more drivers. They, I would assume that they've all talked to each other at this point, and they all plan to come down this time together here on lap 45. Gonna try to watch these guys come off pit road. Here's the race off. That 88's gonna come off pit road first. Here these guys come out of turn number 4. Who else is coming? Here comes the rest of them. Schoenbacher, Brooks. That's the rest of those guys. I think maybe one person didn't come down.
Yeah, one person didn't come down. But now you got the second group there merging onto the track.
Yeah, so here they are right here. You've got a couple. It doesn't seem like anyone's really there up to full speed. There's a lot of cars going through 3 and 4 right now, all trying to get regrouped back together. So you got a group led by Ronnie Norman, that's currently 15th. And then about 3 seconds in front of him, it's going to be Joshua Neal. This was the group that came by first. Joshua Neal, Smith, Puffenbarger, Lee Campbell. And Jeremy Carter is all the way back in 28th right now because he had that that spin in the grass. But Joshua Neal is going to cycle up to the lead. He's going to do that right now with Austin Smith. So for the most part, it seemed to be a pretty uneventful pit cycle, aside from Jeremy Carter being in the grass. And, you know, that's just really hurt him. You know, he was up front and ended up in the grass. I'm not sure what pushed him into the grass. I'm going to check and see on the events list and see if it's possible that we can find that for when that happened, but I'm not anticipating that we're going to be able to show how he ended up in the grass.
I would suspect that when he missed that commitment code, so the easiest thing to do would probably been just to bail off. I'm sure he didn't get a penalty for it, but because he wasn't at the cone yet, but he was close.
Let's see. I'm seeing some more info. Actually, here we go. This might be able to show us right now sort of what kind of happened going back there. So at this point, he's already in the pits. We'll back it up a little bit more so you can kind of see exactly what happened here. They're coming off the racing surface. He's really moving right here. Kind of on the outside. That just kind of gets on the brakes late. It doesn't turn. You see also another driver having trouble right there. So it wasn't just Carter who was having trouble trying to get on there. It was also Corey Crowell, who we saw on the grass a little bit too. So 2 guys that were trying to get in there and really cook on the way in, having trouble. Corey Crowell also a lap down in 27th. So those 2 guys, I'm assuming they both received penalties, and that's why they're both a lap down now early. They're going to have the opportunity to get that lap back because this is Talladega and things happen, but you can't be involved in it if you want to get the lap back. But Corey Crowell, he's all the way up here with this front group. He might try to get up front and get the lap back the hard way. And then for his sake, he would want something to occur behind him so that he could get that back without it being, you know, the lucky dog rule.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a little help from your friends. But I want to point something out. Ira Kohlhaas there in the number 29 Chevrolet. He set the fastest lap of the race so far with a 50.16. So he's getting around here at a pretty good clip at 188 miles an hour. So I wanted to point that out and good heads up driving by these guys. as we're looking at Corey Krell there, he man, this guy's coming on strong. He's starting to run good. He's starting to come into his own, and he's had a pretty good year so far. Even though he's not in the playoffs in the Xfinity series, but over in the next gen side.
All right, so we're coming to lap 50. That's going to leave 23 laps left to go. It's not. I still don't think it's quite time for the intensity level to really pick up. I would like to kind of have an opportunity to talk to some of these guys, but that's going to require caution, and these guys don't just usually they don't just give you cautions for no reason. And I think we all expected there would be some more trouble here at Talladega, and these guys are really showing what they're good at right now, and that's clean, respectful racing. And we've talked about it all year round, but now we're at Talladega where these guys are working in close proximity together, and they're making it work. We've been here for a hot minute now without a caution, some little small things, but they didn't cause cautions. So really just incredible work by these guys, and very impressed. And it's really phenomenal to be a part of it.
Yeah, Austin Smith, he's on that inside line, but you can see right there on your screen, John, that the outside line is starting to get organized again. And like I said, we're pretty much playing tug of war at 180 miles an hour. The inside line will get organized, then they'll fall apart. And the outside line will get organized, and they'll fall apart. But nonetheless, you got Joshua Neal. He's up there in the lead. Alex Teft is running P3 right now, and he's picked up, or scratch that. He's P2 right now, and he's picked up 25 spots. Alex Teft is one of those guys that really doesn't qualify real well, but when it's time to come get down to business and go racing, he's all about business.
I also think we might need to take that with a grain of salt, because that could have just been where he was when we cycled in. And again, we want to apologize for cycling in late. There was an emergency, and the regular crew was not able to be here. And as soon as we were made aware of that situation, we sprinted over, got hooked up, and here we are. So I can't say for certain where Alex Teft started this race. But you do see him up front. On the next gen side, this would be an outstanding run for Alex Teft, one which he would need to complete. Also for Austin Smith, on the one that he would need to complete, and I reckon he needs a good finish here tonight as well, because I assume when he missed the first round with the next gen series, he also missed the first round with this series. Is that correct, Alan?
Yes, you're pretty much spot on there, John. He's got perfect attendance in the truck. So yeah, when he missed the next gen cars, he definitely did miss these guys too. And so he's kind of buried. Brandon Poffenbarger has been the star of the show in this chase. I suspect that he's been the star of the show over in on the next gen side also. But over the course of the season, Brandon Poffenbarger has really impressed me as a spectator. It's cool to be. I like driving, John, but it's cool to be a fan too.
Well, a series in this series makes it kind of easy. I want to go back to last week. On the 31st, Corey Corral finally won the race. It was at Michigan. A good win for the Midwest Motorsports team. It was in the Midwest, and it's like you said that team finished 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's awfully impressive right there. And back on 124th, you said good for Austin Smith. He managed to win that race 2 weeks ago for Vegas. So it's neat to see the different winners when it comes to the Xfinity series, and how things are going to pan out. I'm kind of excited to see what the playoff picture is going to look like post-race. And we're not going to be able to show you that on screen for the Xfinity series. We are able to do that on the Next Gen series. And we're going to try to get that incorporated into both the Truck Series and Xfinity Series going into next season, because I think it really is a phenomenal tool to see here. But as you see on the left side here, there's a sea of green in the top 10. You've got 6 of the drivers in the top 10 are playoff cars, and there's an 11th place driver, Daniel Honeycutt, that's also a playoff driver. Let's talk about just something a little bit more interesting here. Still towards the back is Kinsley Smith. He's still waiting. You know, the driver of the 15 Chevy. There's 19 laps to go. He's still waiting. He hasn't started to make his move yet. But I know this driver is going to be involved up front with about 5 laps to go. So I'm curious to see at what point he's going to decide to take that 15 Napa car and take it to the front.
I would suspect here in about 5-10 laps, probably 10 to go, that's when he's going to start getting up there. He's going to pull the Dale Earnhardt move as we got Diego Rodriguez. He's back out on the track. I guess he had an incident earlier in the race, but he's all by himself, and that's not where you want to be, because John, the rest of the field is going to catch up in a hurry and pass Diego Rodriguez and put him another lap down.
Yeah, you know, he's all by his lonesome. He actually mentioned that there was a pit road error a few moments ago, and that tipped us off to take a look at that gorgeous car, by the way. I really appreciate that paint scheme as a prior Jeff Gordon fan, you know, but he is all by himself. And this is sort of the story of Diego Rodriguez, you know, always has speed, kind of like the Dennis Kane effect, always has speed, and something puts him behind the bell curve. You know, if 17 laps to go, these guys are coming in a hurry, but, you know, he might luck out. You know, here he is right there on the backstretch. He's going to need something to happen quickly because you could see him right there in the same frame if you're looking at the lead from behind. Rodriguez going into turn number 4, and here comes the freight train of the front here. Now, the hard thing is, these guys, I haven't seen them pass a car like this yet. They're 3 wide on a track that barely supports 3 wide. You can make 4 wide work, but how are they going to get by Diego Rodriguez? Is Rodriguez just going to pull over for him? I wouldn't. How are these guys going to sort this out? So they're showing 2 wide right now, coming in a hurry. They're doing 186 miles per hour. Rodriguez is doing 174, 10 miles per hour slower than this front group. So for Rodriguez, he needs something to happen in a hurry.
I think Rodriguez is going to have to pull over either to the inside or the outside, as we got a car dipped down. I believe that's Brendan Poffenberger. He's had enough of that draft, so he's going to dip down and hit the reset button. But, you know, here we go. We got the two-headed monster of Alex Stepp and Joshua Neal, and they're closing in a hurry on Diego Rodriguez. So I think Diego Rodriguez might do the smart thing. I know they're communicating with him, telling him that, hey, we're coming, so that way he can be prepared and you know, move up either to the outside, and then the outside will pass him, and then he'll blend in. That's what I suspect will happen.
And now, if he does this well, and he stays close to these guys, he may not lose this draft right here, and he can compete for that lucky dog position with Corey Crow. He needs to pull in right behind these guys immediately, and you see those cars further back. There he is. He's going to make that move to the inside right there. Should start speeding up quickly. His speed is coming up, and I think he's going to stick with this draft right here. This is something that he can recover from. He needs to avoid any kind of problems and hope that he is the top car when it comes to being on the lead lap. Now, take a look right here. There's Corey Crow right now, back on the lead lap, not by virtue of any kind of lucky dog or cautions. He is in front of this pack. He is not the car in the lead. He is just the final car on the lead lap right now. Staying up front, Joshua Neal content just following around behind him because Joshua Neal's in first. And a bit of a wiggle right there. I don't know how long they're going to allow Corey Crow to stay up front like this. But for Corey, this is where he wants to be in case something happens behind him.
Corey Crow needs to stay in front of Joshua Neal, but Corey Crow is praying for a caution to come out right now, as he's trying desperately to stay in front of Joshua Neal. But Alex Stepp has got Andrew Tuft behind him, just helping him out there. And the second line again is starting to organize, and you know, a little tuft on tuft action to get by and get Alex to the lead. You
Yeah.
know, I talked with these guys previously on the super speedways. These guys are going to help each other out. You know, so
So
therefore,
go ahead.
so therefore, these guys got to be real careful. And I think Andrew Tuft has found Alex Tuft, and that's his best. That's his best friend right now.
And 13 laps to go here. You got still back in the back, Kinsley Smith, Brandon Honeycutt, Schoenbachler as well. A couple names that you're expecting to see move to the front and be competitive, and not doing it so far. We know Aaron Marquise was up front also. He's kind of still in the back as well in that number 41 machine. So 13 to go. I think you're starting to run out of time. You might want to start making your way to the front in the next, let's say, 5 laps. I think everything is going to really start to shake out, and the picture is going to look a lot different. As you kind of say, instead of a snake, this is almost like a stingray. You got like the main body of cars right here and this long tail of drivers the rest of the way. I'll show you what that looks like from the blimp right there. As there's the field. Look at this draft window right here. I wish I had like a pointer and I could draw around the field of cars to kind of show everybody what you're looking at here. Kind of like the football guys with a on-screen pointer. But here in the next couple moments, things are going to start to pick up as you see Alex Tuft and Andrew Tuft, as you mentioned, kind of working together, and big head of steam right there coming down the backstretch. Much quicker, that inside lane right there, Joshua Neal, Dennis Kane. It's a shorter way around the track, and you see the Tuft brothers just power on by, or attempt to power on by, and they're looking to take that position here in turn 2. I see another lapped car that they're coming up on, trying to get a idea of who that is in front of them. And I'm not quite sure. Looks like that's Michael Brooks. Driver number 3, Michael Brooks. Showing him 3 on scoring. He's showing up as the 9 on screen. Looks like he's going to stay to the inside as the leaders are all coming by. That's awfully tight and close. So far, so good. 3 wide some more. As these drivers are trying to get by, he's going to come down to the below that yellow line, back to the track for the corner. And it looks like they're going to make it on by. There it is! There's the first trouble!
Oh, we got it right.
The 87, the 9's going to go around. The lapped cars involved. The 29, Todd Slauson, Ira Kohlhaas. Wow. And there it was. Looks like the 5 might have had a piece of it.
And John, this is the caution that Corey Crowell needed to get back on the lead lap.
And right there, the 87, Dwayne McMahon. Michael Brooks really just kind of got a bad piece of that. Sort of want to see what got McMahon all out of whack right here. Oh, he got a bit of a shove from the 33 of Gordon Spain. Just like what you mentioned, this cars don't really mate up. And that just turned the 87 right into Michael Brooks, who was really just in a bad spot. And that's going to bring that caution out. I wonder what the pit strategy is going to look like. And like you said, good for Corey Crowell, as now he's in the back of the field. And I think Jeremy Carter is going to be the driver that's going to get the pass back here. We're going to see what these guys do for pit stops, and then we're going to try to talk to a couple of them.
I think they're all going to come down. It's 10 laps to go. You might as well. I mean, they last pitted on lap 40, so it's about 20 or so laps. And I would suspect that they run maybe less fuel, because at mile and a half, they run around 65% fuel. So the fuel load's definitely smaller here at the super speedways than it is at the mile and a half. So we called it. They're coming down pit road.
Yeah, here this group comes down. I'm not so worried about your pit cycle and where you come out of pit road at right here. Rather be more up front if possible. I wonder if anyone's going to try to take 2 tires. I'm seeing a mix. I'm seeing fuel only. I'm seeing 2 tires, 4 tires. Quite a change. Ian Campbell, he had a 14-second pit stop. So he's got tires. A lot of drivers coming out behind him. 2 tires are fuel only, which, you know, it's worth mentioning. Alan, go ahead and pull one of these guys in, your pick, and let's get their thoughts before we go back to green. We have a little bit of time to talk to maybe 1 or 2 of them.
All right, let's see here. Let's go with. Let's go with Corey Krell. Hey, Corey Krell, this is Alan and John in the booth. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, Corey, you were riding up there in the front, as a lap car. Could this caution have not come in at any better of a time for you?
It could have came a little sooner when I was ahead of Alex there, because then Jeremy, my other teammate, would have got the lucky dog then. So, wish it was a little sooner.
For sure. So now the game has changed with single-digit laps to go. So what's your strategy for the end? Are you gonna just come through the field and dig like Dale, or are we gonna play it smart and then? So what I'm really asking is when's go time?
Well, go time's now. I won't do anything too drastic. I'm not in the chase. I don't want to ruin somebody else's chance. But yeah, it comes down to me or somebody else for the win. I'm going for it. I'm not going to wreck for it, but I'm going for it.
All right. Well, we want to wish you good luck, and we'll get you back down with your teammates.
Thank you.
Yep. Corey Corral, guys.
Yeah, back to the front. Pace lights are still on, so there's time to talk to another one of these drivers. I'm sort of thinking maybe Joshua Neal or even Dennis Kane. Yeah, pace lights are off. Let's pull Dennis Kane in for a brief conversation, as he's going to be leading the field to green.
Where are you? I can't find him.
He's with you now.
Oh, Dennis, is Alan and John in the booth. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, you have found yourself leading this thing with a handful of laps to go. With we're gonna come back to green with 4 laps to go. You gonna make your car 4 or 5 lanes wide here as we roll down the back straightaway?
I don't know. I just gonna play it by ear. I'm gonna try to stick the bottom. Someone gets a run up top. I don't know. I'll probably just try to maybe squeeze in or something. We'll see what happens. Just hoping to make it to the finish. Have a good finish.
Well, we appreciate you taking a moment to talk with us. We're going to go ahead and throw you back as we're coming into turn 3. Good luck, and maybe we'll be talking to you at the end.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, so that's a quick word from Dennis Kane. And, and it's going to be 7 laps to go here. I don't think he's going to... It's too early to just make that car really wide, I think, Alan. He's just going to have to kind of stick to that bottom lane. And, the bottom's where you want to be. If you got a good push from guys behind it, I mean, you got Ian Campbell back there, Gordon Spain, a couple other guys. If you can get a good push and stay on that bottom and make those guys work to pass you on the outside, you can win a race on that bottom line. But you're going to need some help from a guy like Austin Smith. And, Austin Smith knows how to win. So I know he's thinking about winning this race and not pushing Dennis Kane. As that pace car is going to come down pit road, and we're going to get a restart here with 7 laps to go for the Racers Elite Xfinity Series at Talladega. And it's worth mentioning how slow these guys are until they get to the restart zone where they're at right now. Dennis Kane on the throttle, just about to cross the start-finish line, as it's a long way up the track into turn number 1. Kane's got 0.3 seconds on the field. Might want to drag the brake a bit and not let him catch him.
Yeah, Dennis Kane got that jump, like you said, John. But I want to mention something. After we talked to him, I realized that there was a tale of 2 different strategies. Dennis Kane's, content with,
Oh, another car around again. Jarrett Lauder. Still green. That sounds like he blew up. We're going to stay with the field in case more things happen right there. Joshua Neal in and out. Going to weave. He's going to stay right there behind Austin Smith. Dennis Kane's found himself in the 3rd place position on that inside lane. Definitely not out of it yet. Lauder's on pit road now. I think he might have had to tow it.
Yeah, John, I wanted to say this though. If you're in the top 10, you believe you have a shot at this. So if you're, Austin Smith, Joshua Neal, Ian Campbell, Dennis King, Gordon Spain, Alex Tuft, Andrew Tuft, Marshall Harris, Ronnie Norman, or Kinsley Smith, and like you alluded to earlier in the race, Kinsley Smith was one of those guys that were buying his time. Well, now it's, you know, less than, 5 to go, and
He's right
guess
here.
what? He's found himself near the top 10. He's right there.
Yeah,
So that's that strategy.
I think it's not too terribly difficult to find yourself in the top 10, once you fan out and you're 3 wide. And so you're really bunching these guys together. But that's what makes it a little, I don't want to say easy, but it does give you the opportunity to go from the back to the front. You just kind of switch lanes, switch lanes, switch lanes. Next thing you know, you're running 6, and you can just get a run on the outside and start making some passes. So Ian Campbell going around right now, just about to mention him up front. Ian Campbell's going to come on the track, as well as I think Marshall Harris. Several more drivers are involved. That turned into a much bigger wreck than we expected, as it's going to bring out another caution. We're going to have to see what caused this one. I'm seeing Austin Smith was involved as well. We're trying to watch right here. Austin Smith gets turned from the lead. That's the 12 and the 23. Wow,
Yeah,
Ian Campbell, Austin Smith, and I'm thinking some cars tried to avoid, and they get collected by this. We're going to follow along with Marshall Harris to see, what really caused this for them. So looking for the 32. See, more than one thing happened. The 32 gets turned, and I think this is a completely separate incident. Going to back it up here and follow him. They get turned in front of them. Now the 32 gets on the brakes, and and he just kind of is trying to gather it up, and it's going to bounce off of that car on the inside of him, or on the outside of him right there. I'm not sure totally who that was. I'm going to try to get one more look at it right there, that 80 machine. So bounces off Matthew Jarrett, collects the 73 and the 24, Rodriguez, as well as Kyle Cooper, which is a playoff driver, which is worth mentioning. So that's going to bring this down to a green-white checker finish, I believe.
So the other thing too, going back to the replay there, whenever Joshua Neal and Ian Cooper got turned around, I believe Ian Cooper had just a little bit of help. It doesn't take much to get these cars upset on Superspeedway. Wrong bump at the wrong angle. So when you're bump drafting, John, you really got to square up on the car in front of you. And, on Superspeedways like here in Daytona, and in these cars, you can't really bump draft going into the corner or even coming into the trial full. So you got to be careful where you bump. There's going to be times where you can bump draft, and there's going to be times where you can't. And I think Gordon Spain was trying to bump draft Ian Campbell and just couldn't square up on him.
Well, you know what that means. This is a pretty good time to interview the driver number 33 to get his perspective of what just happened.
You ask and you shall receive. Gordon. Oh, he's up at the top here. At least I thought he was.
OG Racing.
OG Racing. Okay.
Member of the OG Racing team, as well as Michael Brooks, John Schoenbachler.
There he is.
Michael Brooks having a tough time this evening too. He brought out that caution that you could say kind of fueled this one coming up.
All right, Gordon Spain is John and Alan in the SRM booth. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, we right now you're running P2 and that caution just came out. What was your perspective in that caution?
I may have, I don't know. I may have gotten into his left rear and hooked him across my nose. I was trying to get air. I was starting to run hot, and I was trying to get air on the nose. But
Yeah, I was telling John also, these cars really don't match up to each other, so you really got to hit when you bump draft, you really got to hit these guys square. If not, it'll upset the back end of the race car.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, definitely got to keep air on the nose. They get hot pretty quick. So you can't stay tucked up too long.
So do you think you got to go ahead, John?
I was going to say, so it's worth mentioning we can move away from that now. Those pace lights are still on, so I'm thinking we're going to come back to this with 2 laps here to kind of make a decision or to decide the winner. How do you, from second, and you're going to start on the front row, how do you win this race from the front row and being on the outside and not the inside?
It's going to be hard on this outside. I typically restart second. These plate tracks, I'll be lucky to end up 7th. Just try to get a good restart and get this outside line going pretty quick and hopefully get a good push from behind.
All right, well, looks like those lights are out. We're going to send you back, let you get prepared for the rest of the race, and maybe we'll be talking to you in a few minutes.
Hopefully so. Thank you.
So a tale of a couple strategies, is trying to get air on the nose and got into Ian Campbell ever so slightly, but nonetheless, I'm excited to see what he could do here.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good finish here with these 2 laps to go. I don't know if they're going to get around right away. So you guys watching, thanks for showing up. Again, so sorry, late emergency, and we just weren't notified. Family emergencies sometimes, and they take precedence. And I just didn't get notified in time. But as soon as I knew, I was here as quick as possible with my great partner, Alan. And we're getting ready for the showdown here at Talladega. So I want to thank you guys for sticking it out, watching this race with us. What do you guys think is about to happen here in the next 2 laps? Let us know. Start throwing your picks out there. I mean, somebody could come from as far back as 16th or 17th to win this race. It could be Truth Hoke in 18th. It could be Kyle Cooper. Kinsley Smith is in 9th. Getting ready to start here. In just a moment, that pace car is going to come down pit road. And Joshua Neal, Gordon Spain, who's going to get the restart of their life? And who behind them is going to get the restart that they need for that push? If one of these lanes gets a better push than the other, that very well could, determine this race. A long way to the restart zone as we're at it now. We're back under the green flag here at Talladega for the Xfinity Series. 2 laps remaining to determine who is going to win here tonight.
John, it's worth mentioning right now, but I'm watching that 4 car. This could be the race that he breaks through and puts it in victory lane tonight. He's real conservative. All he's got to do is maybe dodge a wreck if it happens, and then he would be guaranteed to win.
And Gordon Spain kind of already getting freight train stuck in the middle right now. Teft and Andrew Teft to the front. Matthew Jarrett's up there. Dennis Kane dropping. Things already shuffling around a hurry in less than 1 lap. You've got that inside group now starting to try to organize behind Gordon Spain, so he's not out of it yet. But if one of those cars from the outside or the inside fall down in front of him, he's going to be kind of stuck without a path to first place. Coming down the front stretch, only got to make it a little bit further. Coming to the white flag. Next flag's going to end it. This race is basically official, we should say. Look at this gaggle of cars, the whole field within 1 second of each other in turn 1.
John, who's it going to be? We don't know. We do not know who is it going to be. Right now, it's all in Alex and Andrew Teft's hands, as Andrew Teft is helping his brother Alex down the back straightaway. These guys are working together.
Well, now here's where everything's about to happen. Who's going to get the run on the high side? Which one of these guys in this group up front of those 3 is going to move out of the way? Someone needs to go right now. Give it that second lane. There it is. It's going to be Joshua Neal. No, he's going to get dropped. He was just dropped by the 27 right there. They're wrecking behind him.
We got a wreck.
A huge wreck. Everybody's wrecking. Alex Teft's going to go on to win the race while the rest of the field is engulfed in chaos. Huge hits right here as we come to the checkered flag. Alex Teft, Andrew Teft successfully worked together to win it. Gordon Spain finishes 12th. And we were just talking to him, not what he expected. Corey Corral, fighting for that position, manages to come home P5. We're going to have to watch that white flag again. And we're going to have to watch the back of the field, and just kind of see what happened. That brought out, didn't bring out a caution. We knew this race was official. But that was just chaos. Here to start the white flag one more time. We saw Alex Tuck victorious. You see a lot of things kind of happen on this white flag. Everybody's right together. But something that I think was interesting is, they got like a 4 or 5 car gap that inside lane, and the 2 outside lines were not able to gather up and recover that. I really thought that Joshua Neal, that 82 machine, was going to have an opportunity to pull up in front of one of these lanes, and he did, but he just kind of got left out to dry. And, I almost wonder if that's what causes everything to occur. Once he got left out right there, and there's just trouble. So we're going to follow him as we're coming into turn 3 in that 82 machine. So he comes up here. The 27 just dives off of him, and everybody else goes with the 27. So the 27 and the 80 dive off. Yeah, he backs the field up, and that's what just creates that chaos right there. That's just insane. As you see Alex Teft right there burning things down. He's ecstatic coming home with the victory tonight. Wow. Now there's Dennis Kane kind of coming back around track, coming down pit road. Alex Teft going to park it right there on victory lane. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah. So Alex Tuft is down. Oh, I gotta go get him. My bad.
That's all right. You gotta give him a second. Let him enjoy this victory as we gotta pull him in. Not as easy as we just run out there to greet him.
I gotta catch my breath. Alex Tuft, this is John and Alan in the booth. How you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Had help from familiar folks such as Andrew Tuft. 26 spots. What's your secret to not qualifying so well and then ending up, where did you come from style in the race?
Well, just a lot of teamwork with the Chicken Coop Racing guys. Early in the race, me and Andrew jumped up on that 3rd lane and made our ways to the top and to the front of the pack. And really, the goal was to just stay up there as much as possible.
Something else I want to point out too, Alex. Watching you and Andrew work together, took me back to watching Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart work together. You guys just gel so well in a draft together. What's your secret to that?
It's just the trust factor, really. It's the matter of, if you see the guy make the move, you're knowing that he's going to follow you, and it just makes decisions a lot easier.
Well, Alex, as we get ready to close out the rest of the season, what's your mindset moving forward?
Yeah, hopefully just keep it up front and try to win some more races.
All right, Alex, we're going to go ahead and let you go back to your team and burn it down and celebrate with the guys.
Sounds good.
All right, I will go get Mr. Andrew Tuft. All right, now we got Andrew Tuft. Andrew, this is Alan and John in the booth. How's it going, bud?
Hey, doing pretty good. How are you?
We're doing pretty good. So, I was asking Alex, you guys worked so well together, and did you have any idea that you would essentially be helping Alex to win tonight?
Yeah, we just got a really good launch on that last restart, and my best bet was to stick with him, honestly. Just had such a good run, so I went with it, and DK, our other teammate, found us there at the end, gave us a nice push to the line, so yeah, just good effort all around by the Chicken Coop Racing team.
Gosh, I love that name so much.
Right. So, we got a couple more races left to go in the season. Now you got the wild card behind you. So so what's your mindset heading into the last couple races of the season as we look forward to next season?
Yeah, I had a rough start with some equipment failure and stuff like that, so I got to make up a little bit of ground. I think I'm only 10 back now, but um, now that I got my stuff back together, I'm feeling pretty good. Got to thank Kensley for the new paint scheme. Must have changed my luck because I haven't had an interview in a while, so it's nice to turn that around.
Yeah, I was telling Mike the other night, if if Andrew and Alex if they don't break through, maybe you guys will have to go get with Daniel Honeycutt and get the old target scheme.
Yeah, gotta find a horseshoe or something, but yeah, it's a good day all around.
All right, before we get you out of here, is there anybody that you'd like to thank that helped get you here tonight?
Everybody that tunes in to watch and shows up to race, can't do it without you. It's a team effort, so thank you everybody. Servicemen and women, my family for letting me play all the time, Kensley for the sick paint scheme, whole team for working together tonight. It was just a great team effort and super clean race. Also, just proud of everybody.
All right, we're gonna let you go celebrate with your team.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, and then we got Dennis Kane.
Dennis Kane, welcome back to the booth. Jonathan Leach and Alan Bergen here. Not quite first place, but third place. Not too bad. Well, how did that kind of all happen? And I'm curious to really understand. It seemed like the top four just kind of got away from the rest of the field, and it was just a battle between you guys. Do you think you had the opportunity to make a move, or not so much?
Yeah. Well, I kind of got into something early in the race, and to be honest with you, really wasn't trying to move up in positions for most of the race. I was trying to hang back, but I just found myself moving forward. And got there towards the end, and running that last lap, it looked like the 33 kind of got hung out to dry in the middle. Had the 82 in front of me, and of course in front of him, Andrew and Alex, my teammates. Shout out for Chicken Coop Racing, finishing 1, 2, 3 tonight. And Josh kind of moved up a little bit. I found a hole, and I mean, yeah, I had a run, but with Andrew and Alex in front of me, I wasn't going to take it. Them guys are in the playoffs. I'm not. They're my teammates. I'm not going to try to do anything sketchy there. So I just tried to push them to over quickly.
All right. Well, Dennis, what are your thoughts going into next week's race? And do you think you can follow up a good finish tonight then?
Yeah, where are we at next week?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'll go look here right now. Where are we at? Auto Club. Let's see.
That's what I thought. I didn't want to go out and say the wrong thing with it not staring at me in the face, but Auto Club's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't run the best there. We'll see. I mean, if I pull out a top 10, that'd be great. Season finale though at Chicagoland, I think that's gonna be a fantastic race. I run pretty well there, so I'm hoping to at least put a positive spin on what's been a pretty tough season for me, and hopefully I can carry some momentum head into season 3.
All right. Well, Dennis, anyone you want to mention or thank before we let you go tonight?
Again, just shout out to SRM for broadcasting. Shout out to Racers League for having the league, and again, great finish for Chicken Coop Racing tonight.
Absolutely. Well, Dennis, hope you have a good night, and we'll talk to you again.
Cool, thank you.
All right, Alan, it's the playoffs, so that means we've got more drivers to talk to. I'm thinking the next guy that we need to bring on in is going to be Daniel Honeycutt. I mean, not really a great finish for him. Brings it home 15th if you want to go ahead and pull him up.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get him into the booth. Daniel Honeycutt, this is Alan and John here in SRM booth. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are y'all?
We're doing good. We're doing good. So, in the playoffs, come away with a P15. I would say that's a pretty good points night. But I gotta know, will we see the target scheme come back?
I don't think after Talladega I should bring it back. It is what it is. But I know that's what you're looking forward to, but no, it was kind of clean. I was really surprised how clean it was. And then it's Talladega. It's a super speedway. At the end of the races, you always have 5, 6, 7 cautions right there in the last 10 laps. So, yeah.
Well, so now we're heading into Auto Club next week. What's your mindset now that we've put the essentially wild card behind us?
Well, that's the thing. I'm a little upset about it. I'm not going to be able to race next week, so that'll probably end my championship hopes. But it is what it is. If I would have gone there, I was hoping to repeat like I did last season. I feel really good about Auto Club, but wish I could do it. But I'll definitely be back for the week after, and maybe I can keep that bounty on Austin and Ronnie's head, and maybe they can take each other out, so I can try to squeeze by with one less race under me.
Well, all right. Before we get you out of here, is there anybody that you'd like to think that helped get you here tonight?
Just my team for working with me and being willing to push me, and they knew where my position was and how many points I needed and all this, and they were willing to help me. Me and Brandon fought our way back up to the lead. Me and Jarrett pushed each other up to the front again and caught the main pack after a pit stop, so can't complain. So I'm pretty happy with them, so I just want to thank them.
All right, John, do you got anything for Daniel?
I think you summed it up really well. It sucks that you were involved in that last, that wreck coming to the line, but that's Talladega racing, and I imagine Chicagoland will be a good race for you in a couple weeks, and maybe we'll be talking to you then.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, Daniel, we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you.
All right, we will take him back down to.
I think it's worth pulling Kinsley Smith in, who managed to finish 4th.
We will get him in here. There he is. All right. Kinsley Smith is Alan and John up in the SRM booth. How's it going?
Oh, I might have stepped away.
Kinsley Smith, are you there?
Oh, I'm here.
He is there. All right. He's exhausted after running in the back and then finishing P4. Kinsley, I remember talking to you last week at the end of the Next Gen series, asking your plan, and you're basically saying you're going to sit in the back all day long. Here I am now for the Xfinity race. That's what you did. Sat in the back all day, and then you bring home a good finish. So walk us through, when do you think is go time at the end of these races? And, how do you just get to the front? Is it just kind of a hope and a prayer, or is there any kind of race strategy or style of driving to get you there?
Mainly just being patient. The whole time I was sitting back there, I was getting antsy, wanting to get up there, and I feel like if I would have gotten up there sooner than I did, I would have been caught up in something. Which I almost was. But just patience is the key to that. It really helps a lot to just sit there and be patient.
Yeah, I guess a good saying is the race will kind of come to you as you're out there just trying to stay engaged, per se, and then watch the vehicles around you. Now, what's your thoughts on the overall racing that we saw tonight? I was thoroughly impressed by the respect that I saw. There was really good racing. There's no egregious type of moves out there. I was very impressed by the field, and it just kind of shows the group that's come together here that makes this racers elite bunch of guys. So before we let you go, what are your thoughts on the field and anyone you'd like to mention or thank?
I think tonight's racing was pretty good. Everybody, majority of the guys kept it real clean and respectable. Sucks that we had those cautions. Wish it would have stayed green, because if it would have stayed green there at the end, I would have had enough gas to make it all the way to the end and possibly won it. So, but I like it. It's gotten a heck of a lot better since the beginning of the season. We were so disorganized, and we've got it together, and we're all getting better together. which is the best thing for us as a league. I'd like to thank my wife and my daughter for supporting me, you guys for streaming this, and Andrew for hosting the league for us, and then of course my team who stayed pretty much patient with me, stayed back there with me, and then we all, I think majority of us finished top 10 tonight, so I think it was a good deal for us.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to talking to you tomorrow for the Cup Series, and maybe on the Xfinity side, we'll be talking to you next week as well. Kinsley, I hope you have a good night and good run for you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that leaves us with one more driver, Alan. I'd like to hear from Austin Smith, who was up front, out of Burlington, Wisconsin, ended up finishing P14. He's in the waiting room whenever you're ready to pull him in.
Austin Smith, it's Alan and John in the RSM booth. How you doing?
Yeah, not super great, but it's all good.
Yeah, that didn't really work out at the end there, did it?
No, it kind of really didn't work out when you get wrecked, leading the race. So, all good though. Kind of expected on a super speedway. So
that's why we wanted to get a word in with you to get your kind of feelings for how that happened. You know, a lot of good racing, and obviously I don't think it was an intentional event, but you know, from the lead, after being up there all night long, that's really hard to stomach, and you're bringing home 14th, and I don't assume that's going to bode well for your championship hopes over the next two races. What do you think?
yeah, well, I guess the only thing that really kind of bodes well is that we're off super speedways for the next two races, and we can kind of showcase my talent a little bit on these next couple tracks at Auto Club in Chicagoland. So hopefully go out there and just run some good races there and not have to worry about, other people wrecking, and hopefully stay out front. So interesting storyline though, for sure. I mean, the top three in points, we're separated by 1 point. So going to be a battle to the end for sure.
Going to be an incredibly great one to watch. Is there anyone else you'd like to mention before we let you go for the evening and wrap this up?
Yeah, just thank you guys for getting the broadcast going, and letting my family and all my friends watch. And shout out to Andrew for always putting this league together and doing everything on the back end for it. And then just always need to shout out to my team, Midwest Motorsports.
Well, Austin, I appreciate you taking the moment to stick around and talk with us after, the race not going the way you expected. I hope you're able to enjoy the rest of your evening, and we look forward to seeing you showcasing your talent the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, we'll see you. All right, Alan, that's the race right there. That's talking to a couple of the drivers, a couple other ones, just, rough nights. Joshua Neal, he really running a great race and ends up finishing 21st because of what all happened. He tried to pull up and take that position. He was on the inside lane there and kind of just got left high and dry by the guys on the outside. I think there was Brandon Sanfilippo, and I don't know the other guy. It might have been Matthew Jarrett behind him. I can't say for sure. But, and he just got kind of left, and that's super speedway racing, and then the caution occurred, and he ends up bringing home 21st. Just rough night for him. Rough night for Brandon Puffenbarger and Diego Rodriguez. Whenever there's people that have great nights at super speedways, there's always people that have rough nights. I guess it's time to go through the results if you'd like to start.
All right, so in the final running order, in P1 is going to be Alex Teft, who moved up 26 positions. Andrew Teft is going to be P2. P3 is going to be Dennis Kane. P4 will be Kinsley Smith. Finishing P5 will be Corey Carell. P6, moving up 12 positions from where he started, will be the number 32 of Marshall Harris. Brandon Honeycutt will finish P7. Brendan Sanfilippo will finish P8. Ira Callis comes home P9. Ian Campbell comes home P10.
Yeah, 11th belongs to Matthew Jarrett. Gordon Spain is 12th. He was involved with Austin Smith. And then just kind of another driver that, I just that last 2 laps was not kind to Gordon Spain. He ends up finishing 12th. It could have been a lot worse, but he was one of the front runners with the final 2 laps. John Schoenbachler comes home 13th. Austin Smith, of course, we saw him get turned from the lead. He finishes 14th. Daniel Honeycutt is 15th. Dwayne McMahon, another driver we saw up front, just on the wrong side of Talladega, is 16th. 17th is Todd Slauson. Jeremy Carter never really recovered from that spin in the grass for 18th. Kyle Cooper, Lee Campbell for 19th and 20th. And really the driver hit the hardest tonight being Joshua Neal, driver number 82. I'm showing him right here as showing him 17th on the screen or on the standings, but he finished 21st tonight. I'm not sure why the screen is messed up here, but he finished 21st. Rough night for Joshua Neal. Truth Hoke 21st, Brandon Puffenbarger 23rd. Another driver you expect that needs a good night. Ronnie Norman, Diego Rodriguez, Michael Brooks, we saw involved in one of the earlier cautions. Aaron Marquise, another driver we saw up front. And then, of course, Jarrett Larder is going to round out the field, 28th. Again, the timing isn't quite up to date in the correct manner. Want to congratulate Alex Teft for winning tonight's race at Talladega. I want to thank everybody that's tuned in and were watching and are still watching for the conclusion of this race here. Thank you for being patient with us. Again, I'm so terribly sorry that the stream did not start on time. Of course, it was an unforeseen circumstance, and we got it up as quickly as possible. We'll make it up to the league on the backside and the background, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night here again at Talladega for the Next Gen series. That's going to be with Daniel Paulus and myself. Really looking forward to see what this series has to offer tomorrow night. Any last words, Alan?
Well, I gotta thank our significant others, our wives, for letting us come hang out and do this night in and night out. They are the real troopers. So I mean, I I think we need to go buy them flowers or something, or take them out on a nice date.
Well, that's coming up in a couple days, but don't just let Valentine's Day be the only time you do that, folks. And as we wrap this one up, Tony Trapasso would always say something like, ladies and gentlemen, please don't play in traffic. Men, please don't play in traffic when it comes to Valentine's Day. Hope you all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. And once again, thanks again for sticking around. And very sorry for the mistake earlier. But awesome racing. We'll see you next time.